Hello and welcome back to Harold Road in the Loft with me, JB, Jubsy, Jublubs, or the big JB. Here we are. Please excuse the fact I'm wearing my work shirt. I literally have had the afternoon off and I want to get a video done. Simply because so many people have been asking me about my airbrushing. You know what I mean, my airbrushing. So no messing around today. We're going to be in a serious video all about airbrush work. What airbrushes do I use? And techniques, etc. This can be part one of a two-part series. Okay, so if you want to get yourself an airbrush, if you're interested in starting airbrush work, this is the series for you, because what we're going to be doing is looking at just what airbrushes I actually use to create my masterpieces, and how I mix my paint, how I clean an airbrush, how to use an airbrush. What is an airbrush? There's different sorts. There's a siphon airbrush and there is a gravity feed airbrush. So we're going to be looking at gravity feed airbrushes. I have two of these. I'll show you those very shortly. And I wish someone would please turn off the timer on the Trump machine. Just bear with me while I just sort that out. I think it may just be because I've sat down and it's activated itself. Yes, it has. Anyway, before we carry on, a bit of news for you. Now, Megs, as you know, if you are on the Facebook page, some of you are, some of you aren't, because you're on YouTube anyway. Megs, who we raised a lot of money for Dementia UK. I'm not going to go into how much we raised, but we raised a substantial amount, nearly $2,000. That's not bad in 3 months, selling stuff and weathering stuff and all that. So she's happy. She's done a half marathon last Sunday, and I think she did her 13 miles in about 2 hours. Although I go to the gym, I can't run. Only thing I can run is a tap, to be honest with you. But she's done it. So that's fantastic. And she's still raising money for Dementia UK. When I last looked, it was about 2,600. It's now gone over £3,000. So well done to Megs for your run. Well done to everybody who got involved. We did all this in the last video, you know, so we'll move on. We have a new character joining the crew. You can probably see what I'm doing. Joining the crew, and this is I can't believe I'm doing this. This is Reggie. Say hello, Reggie. This is to go alongside this fella here, Milky Junior, who likes to spend his time going down the loft hatch. But this is Reggie. But we don't like the name Reggie, so we're going to rename you here live. Oh yes, we are. I contacted my niece, my 5-year-old niece, and I said, "What kind of name would you like to give Reggie? Because we don't want to call him Reggie." So she's come up. My 5-year-old niece has come up with a great name for Reggie, and we're now going to christen him right now. So this isn't Reggie anymore. This is have I really got to do this? This is fuck off. I didn't say a swear word. That's FCAWF. Fuck off. And I've got to do it like that because my niece is watching. So just for you, Ashley, here is fuck off. So this is a new member of the crew here at Harold. I've got to do this while the wife is out, because I can't keep going fuck off, because it's just really stupid, isn't it? So yeah, this is our new member of the team. So to join Milky Junior. Yeah, and it's still going off. So yeah, a new member of the team. Yeah, I'll put that down. So moving on. Got to get that out of the way. There has been, let's just say, this is a little bit serious now. There has been some trolling going on not just my Facebook page, but other modelers are getting it as well. Well-established modelers. Farkham is one of them. Lucy's been trolled. I can speak from vast experience about this, because I know people hate what I do. I know people who absolutely hate the fact I sit here in a wig. I've got puppets and Bouncing Betty. Where is she? Oh, she's down here. Hang on. Bouncing Betty, she is loathed. She's absolutely hated by some people. So just for those who don't like her, she's in the house, and we're going to get her to say something.
Record and remix.
I think the batteries are getting a bit low.
Say something, and I'll mix
I've got this
it
as a
into
request. This
song.
one is.
Here we go.
Do you like that, do you?
It's not for me.
Do you like that, do you? Do you like that, do you?
So,
That's amazing.
it was. It's very good, and that was for Zach Breadstick. That's for you, Zach. You wanted her to say, "Do you like that breadstick?" I think it might be a Polish name. It might be something else. It says Zach Breadstick on my computer screen, but he wanted Bouncer Betty to say that. Now I know that she's not popular, but she's very popular with those who follow Harold Road. I do what I do because there is nobody else out there who will do this, who will sit in front of a camera with a Trump machine and lark about. But I know it makes people happy. Okay, there is those out there who cannot stand the fact I sit here and do a little bit of comedy, a little bit of rudeness, a little bit of Frankie Howard style comedy. But there is many people out there. I do get messages from people. When are you going to do a video? I want to be cheered up. Make me laugh. Well, I can soon make you laugh just by doing this. There you go. So yeah. I don't understand why people like myself or Farkham or anybody else needs to be trolled. I don't. This is a great one I had the other day. Oh, my microphone's on. Someone actually, I posted on the Facebook page a Isambard Kingdom Brunel over there, and someone actually came on my page and said, "You just sit there and act like a clown. Who does your weathering work?" Right, okay. I can say that I do my own weathering work. All this is done by myself. I do it. I've been weathering stuff for 26 years. I don't just sit. Look, there's the airbrushes. Who does your weathering? Honestly, just because I sit here and act a little bit silly doesn't mean I'm not a serious modeler. I am a deadly serious modeler, and I know that nearly 10,000 people are following me on Facebook. I don't think that many are following me on YouTube. I think it's around about 4,000. I'm not honestly sure. But as I say, you either hate me or you don't. You don't have to. If you don't like this, if you don't like, fuck off. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. You can go and watch some of those award-winning people out there who just sit there and go, "Hello and welcome to my model railway. Today I bought myself a 9F. I don't do that. I can't do it. I can't do it, honestly. Anyway, we'll move on to the airbrush stuff in a moment, but we just got to get. I've got a card from Meg. This is a card. This isn't a joke. This extremely neat writing of it, honestly. But I have to read this out because not only did she get me a card, she also bought me some gin. Which I'm not drunk at all yet, but I tell you what, I picked it up. Was it Friday? Was it no Wednesday? It's nearly all gone. And you said that's your favourite, so yeah, it's a very nice gin, Watley Neal. Yeah, if I think it's rhubarb and ginger. Oh, I don't know. That's nice. Whatever it is, it's not with me. It's downstairs. Anyway, this is the card, and this is the message that Meg has got. To John, where do I start? Thank you for going above and beyond and truly investing yourself into fundraising for this incredible charity. I really hope yours and your wonderful, I think that says yours. I really hope yours and your wonderful supporters' donations help us to live in a world that dementia no longer impacts. I get what you mean there. I'm sorry that the words thank you seem so small to the contribution and actions you've made happen, but I really am so grateful for what you have done. I heard you like gin. Yeah. I thought I'd introduce you to my favourite tip, and I hope you like it. And this is from Megs with a kiss kiss. So I'm although it's there, I will mount it on the back there somewhere with all the other paraphernalia. But that was so nice. She said it's not enough. I didn't. I went into this charity thing wanting to raise £100. The fact that we raised nearly £2,000, it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy me anything. I did it because I wanted to do something within the model railway community to help you raise some money. And everyone who's involved, even if you just gave me a message, you're like, "Good on you, JB, well done." That's good enough for me. So that's all over now. So it's a little bit weird. It's like I've gone back to normal and I haven't got loads of models that I need to get out and auction and sell off. It's very weird that I can now sit here and just do my own stuff. It's very, very weird. As you can see, I have got a lot of stuff to get through. There's models everywhere, honestly. Wherever I look, there is models. I think we're going to have to, one of these days, do another how many models do I own? Because I can't stop buying them. I'm like a magpie. I'm like, see something shiny and new. I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, I mean, there's this is a 37425. I renumbered my other 37425 into 401. So I've had to go and buy another 37425. And this is a Bachmann model, and I paid £80 for it. That's good enough. £80 for a Bachmann model. So that I'm going to put another 425 out there very, very soon. I've got 66s. I've got an Akira scale 60. There's models everywhere. So with that in mind, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at airbrushing and airbrushes. The big question that I get asked so many times: what airbrush do you use? What compressor do you use? I'm going to go through that in this part one. I'll explain to you what a gravity feed brush is. A feed brush? A gravity airbrush. What's a gravity feed brush? I'm going to explain to you what a gravity airbrush is, how it works, how to mix paint. You don't have to go out and buy expensive thinners. I actually use, I'm not joking, I can't get it, it's right behind me. I actually use white spirit from the pound shop. That's what I use to mix my paint. And I'll show you how I mix my paint, how I make the track dirt colour. Rather than go out and buy, the really expensive track dirt colour you can get from other retailers, I make my own. Now, if you are using acrylics, I can't help you. I've always used enamel paints, but I should imagine the procedure is exactly the same. You just don't use thinners. I think you use water. So what I explained to you will be of use to you, but I've never used acrylic paints. I've always been an enamel type of guy. That's my medium, enamel paint. So if you want to stick with it, we will go through what airbrushes you can use for enamel paints. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pause it, and then I'll introduce you to the airbrushes that I use and how they work. And then we'll go into some techniques, how to, as I say, mix painting. Anyway, I'm going backwards and forwards now. So what we're going to do now, we're going to click you off, and then we're going to get started on part one of Johnny Boy's Guide to Airbrushing. So let's say you want to start doing a little bit of airbrush work, a bit of weathering. What airbrushes should you buy? If you're going to be using enamel paints, your best bet is to buy an expensive airbrush. If you're going to be using acrylics, yes, you can buy the £30 jobbies. But for enamel work, this is the main boss for me. This is my Water HP CR3. This is a gravity feed airbrush, which means gravity pushes the paint down to mix with the airflow. So basically, how an airbrush works is you pull your trigger down to gain air, and the more you pull back on the trigger, the more paint will flow through your nozzle. So that's what that means by gravity feed. There's also siphon feed and all different other kinds of airbrush. As I said before, we're working with enamel paints, so this airbrush, the HP CR3, is compatible with enamel paints. Now, I could buy myself a £30 jobby off the internet, but within a few months that would completely and utterly foul up because the seals would just melt through use of paint and thinners. The HP CR3 is basically a workhorse. Now, I've had this 3 years and it's never ever let me down, not at all. This is my backup airbrush, and that is an Iwata Neo. It's not actually made by Iwata. I think it's just the name Iwata. It's Neo for Iwata, but people call it an Iwata Neo. This retails around about £60–65, whereas the Iwata HP CR3, that retails around about £123. But you get what you pay for, basically. This airbrush will do everything I need it to do. Now, with your airbrush, I would invest also in a moisture trap. This goes underneath your airbrush and it stops any moisture going through your mix of paint and thinners. So if you are going to invest in an airbrush, also invest in a moisture trap. Now, this cable goes down to a compressor. I'll show you the compressor in a little while. So this is my main airbrush. This, the Iwata Neo, is the backup brush, and as you can see, it's very similar. You can see how clean it is. I think I've used it once. So if indeed my HP CR3 decided to foul up, then I've got the Neo as a backup. It's always good to have a backup plan. So let me just switch the compressor off. So what we do for airbrush work is you have to mix your paints. You mix your paints with thinners. So in my little pot here, I've already mixed up my track dirt. Now, my track dirt is a mixture of two colours. This is Humbrol Matte Black and Humbrol Matte Leather. So that's Matte 33, Matte 62. So what I do is I mix those two together into shot glasses. I buy these from any kind of hardware store, and these are the backbone of how I do my paints, basically, because that's how I measure my paints to thinners, and they're great use. So what I do is I mix up sort of 50-50 matte leather, matte black, and then what I do is I'll pour it into another shot glass. It's like watching Guinness, isn't it? And when I'm happy with how much I need, I will then add my thinners. Now, lots of people will go out and they will buy the expensive thinners. I actually use, if you can see this, thinners from the pound shop, and I basically have these as well. These are my little pipettes, and what I do is I will mix now my track dirt colour 50-50. I can kind of guess how much thinners stroke white spirit I will need for the job. So now that's 50-50. So my paint is now mixed 50-50 with paint and thinners. I will now mix it up, give it a good stirring, maybe 10-20 seconds. Okay, and it's now turning into this nice chocolatey brown colour, which I always use for my track dirt, and indeed I use it for roofs as well. So now that's all nicely mixed up, I will now pour that into my airbrush. Okay, there we go. Now I set my airbrush around 35 psi, and I've got a bit of tissue here so I know if it's good or not. There we go, look. There we go. You can do lines, you can come back and do a prop spray. There you go. It's entirely up to you. The closer you get, the more easy it is. There we go. I've just done my signature. So say for example this was a piece of rolling stock or whichever, I'll hold my, hang on, I've got a wagon here. I've got an old wagon. So let's just say we're going to do the under frame. I'll do that first. There we go. So I'm going to quickly mask off around. Just going to put it on its side and just mask off. Excuse me, I've got masking tape on me. Right, okay. So we've got the under frame here. Sorry about that. So now what I'll do is masked off. I can literally just go, just pass it over. The more I pull the trigger back, the more paint will flow through the airbrush. So if I just literally not pull it back, I can just deliver air. And then I'll give it another coat by pulling back on the trigger. Right, there you go. So that's now done the underframe. And now what I'll do is I'll just get hold of my little scratch brush here and just tidy this up there, and the handbrake lever. And again, just there like that. So now that's now done. Basically, I can now remove the masking tape. If I can get hold of it, there we go. And what you could also do once you've done both sides of your underframe, here's another technique I'm just going to do for you. So I'm going to hold it like this. Just following these rib lines. Okay, so now just do that bit there, just around there, so the top. So now what we could do, I mean that looks good already, doesn't it? What you can do is this. This is a fiberglass pencil, and what you can do is gently, just gently, this is my secret weapon. If you can see what's happening here, I'm now literally just gently scraping away the paint I've just applied. What it also does is cause like a streaking effect, but it will keep the paint trapped right against these rib lines. Never ever do this. Never ever use your scratch brush and go horizontal. It's all vertical. Okay? It's a great technique. And I use it on most of my work, especially on loco roofs. You know, you can go, as long as you're following the contours of the roof, it's absolutely fine. Don't press too hard. And if you're happy with that, you can then grab your airbrush again. Nope, hang on. Let me just do this bit here. There we go. Just going to make that look a little bit better. Because what I'm going to do is one final pass. But I'm going to go over these rib lines again. I'm just going to give it some air first, just to clear up anything which is still there, and I'm just going to follow down these rib lines. This is the control you have. The more I pull back, the more paint will flow. So this is just, all I'm doing is this. If I go like that, I get a big blob. So I'm literally just little passes, nothing major, and then just at the top there. And that is, right, show you by getting up. There you go. That is basic weathering. Literally all I've done is the underframe, gone over the rib lines, used a scratch brush, and then gone over it again. Now that's a great result, and that's just literally one side of it. If you can see that, looks good already, doesn't it? That is basic weathering. That is basic weathering how I would do it. Quickly do a wagon, but you could also enhance it even further. How do we do that, JB? Well, what we do is we use this. This is Tamiya Weathering Master weathering palette, basically. Now this is my little secret weapon. Again, not many people use this. Let's put that one back. Don't need that. So I'm going to get a little, get you in shot, a soft brush. Okay, and we're going to make this model look metal. And how we do that is, I'm going to change my glasses so I can actually see what I'm doing. Right, is we go over rib lines. Right, sorry about this. I know I'm not talking much. I'm just going over these rib lines here, either way. And at the bottom here, go along there. Now this will make this wagon look metal. Now it can also go over parts of the wagon as well, because it will highlight anything raised. So I'm just going to go along here with it, along this brake rigging. You can also go over the coil spring, and then just on this, there we go, on the bottom there, and around brake lever. I'm just going to go over the brake lever one a little bit more, so it looks like someone's actually handled it. There we go, and then I'll just go over that with the gunmetal, just making sure that all the edges got a touch of gunmetal on them. So now you might be able to see, if I move it around, you can see where the gunmetal's gone. You can see it on all these rib lines here. And that's taken me, what, not even 5 minutes. That's basic weathering for a wagon. So all you've used is your two paints there, your matte black, your matte leather. You mix them up into your shot glass, not that one, and then add a bit of thinners, 50-50, there you are. Pop it in your airbrush and weather your model. I will always say, if you're going to start doing any weathering, grab an old wagon. But there you go, that is basic weathering on a wagon. How cool is that? Now I could go to town. I could go inside the bit, you know, in the middle there. Let me just move it so I'm not touching anything. Just go across. Make it look. Just going along these rib lines there, so it looks like there's stuff been in there. You can go along the edges. Again, we're just using the two colours, the matte black and the matte leather. I'm just going to go just along the bottom there. There you go. That's perfect. So we've just pretend we've done the entire model. I can now add gunmetal inside this wagon like this. So those rib lines now will show up. So it looks like it's metal. Just go over there. So now that looks pretty neat inside there. These lines, these raised lines now look metal. There you go. So that's your basic weathering. Let's put everything away. Right, so we are finished for the day. So we're going to put our airbrush away, but clean it first. You've seen a little bit of weathering. I wasn't going to do any weathering, but you've seen basic weathering on a wagon there. We'll go into more details with the weathering in part 2. So, but we're going to clean the airbrush now. It's very important that we clean the airbrush out before we use it again. So the first thing I do is I will remove any excess paint back into a shot glass or whichever. I'll quickly give it a wipe. Just going to give the cup a quick wipe out. And then what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of white spirit, not a lot, just inside there. We're going to quickly clean out the nozzle. I put my finger on the end here like so. Just going to give that a quick clean. And then any excess white spirit I'll just put into the cleaning pot. And then we're going to disassemble the airbrush. Now this is quite simple to do on a HP CR3. All we do is we undo the back piece, we undo the locking nut, we remove the needle. I will then, just for good measure, just put a cotton bud into the bottom of the cup, clean that through. So now if you can see that, it's all nice and clean in there. I will then grab a little bit of Vaseline in my little pot here, and I shall literally just put some Vaseline along my needle. Keep it nice and lubed. I shall reinsert and then do up, and then do that up. Give it a quick clean over. Now, normally, if I was using this airbrush all day, we just used it for this one little job, I would remove this tiny nozzle here. That is undone with a little spanner, and I would clean out the nozzle there. But I've only did one coat on the wagon, so I'm not going. The nozzle was already clean. If I was doing it all day, I would remove that and clean that out as well. So now it's now cleaned and ready for its next job. So how do you clean a deep clean on an airbrush? Well, you've got simple tools basically. These are airbrush cleaning, what do we call them, brushes, and you can take it all apart and you can go up the nozzle, give it a good clean out. You can get these on Amazon for about £6. I've also got this little tool here, which is great. I mentioned the nozzle a moment ago. You can use this little tool. You can get inside the nozzle if you remove the nozzle, and you can give it a twist, and that will clean the nozzle as well. But I will only do that if I've been using my airbrush all day. So these items are available on the internet to clean your airbrush. Basically, that is it for part 1. You've seen how the airbrush works. You've seen a little bit of weathering on a wagon. In part 2, we shall be looking at weathering rolling stock, locomotives, etc. So I hope you found that informative. Until part 2, from me and the gang, I'll say goodbye. Ta-da!